Welcome, guys, to the very first PS4 versus Xbox One newscast. We're going to be talking about DRM and used game fees today. To start off, we'll start off with the DMR section. You'll see on the screen of the Xbox licensing that they've actually released on news.xbox.com before E3, so they didn't have to talk about it at their conference. Right there it says, with Xbox One you can game offline for up to 24 hours on your primary console, or 1 hour if you are logged onto separate console. Accessing your library offline gaming is not possible after these prescribed times until you re-establish a connection, but you can still watch live TV and enjoy Blu-ray and DVD movies. We'll get down to what that says, but let's go over what PS4 says. That right there says there will be no connection required to play. So very different. Basically, DRM is confirmed for the Xbox One, while PS4 they say it's not. There is a different story about that on the other hand kind of thing, which we'll get to a little bit later. Let's first start talking about the Xbox One DRM and the reason for it and everything. People are saying, oh, it shouldn't require it for single player games and so on and so on. Well, there's more to it, which we'll go over. On the screen now, the Xbox One is going to be completely powered by the cloud. Basically, due to this, they're assuming, since the percentages are so high on the multiplayer gaming of the Xbox 360, they're assuming that there's going to be a lot of people, again, that's going to be mostly getting it for multiplayer. In which case, they're assuming every Xbox One owner is going to have a broadband connection, which is going to allow developers to create massive, persistent worlds that evolve even when you're not playing. Basically, the cloud will update your world even when you don't have your Xbox One on, and so on and so on. But also that 24-hour connection is making it how you have to have the broadband connection. Let's see. Now, with the cloud, they're saying it basically is going to make the Xbox One future-proof. What this is basically meaning is, when they're talking about the reveal, there's going to be, for every Xbox One sold or made by the manufacturer, there's going to be approximately 3 virtual Xbox One worth of power in the cloud. And to make this possible for the future proofing, they're putting up 300,000 Xbox Live and Windows Azure servers, which is their cloud servers, so that they can keep this cloud up and running. On top of that, with the cloud, and why it's doing the DRM, for part of the reason, is all Xbox One games are going to be digital, even if you have the physical game disc. Everything's going to be digital. Right when you put the disc in your console and you sign in and install it to your hard drive, you can play the game from any Xbox One, because of the digital copy of your game is stored on your hard drive and in the cloud. So you can directly play your games from your friend's Xbox without having to install it to his hard drive. You'll be streaming it from the cloud, basically. And this goes on for more of a reason why it requires the 24-hour check-in. It says, while a persistent connection is not required, Xbox One is designed to verify if system application or game updates are needed, and to see if you have acquired new games or resold, traded in, or given your game to a friend. Games that are designed to take advantage of the cloud may require a connection. So, basically what that means is it'll automatically upload your new games to the cloud, and it basically says if your game has been deactivated, saying like you traded it in. Since it's on the cloud and stuff, the DRM is truly to provide that you don't just download the game to your hard drive and trade it in. And basically, if they didn't have the DRM, you can turn your Xbox offline the entire time and be able to get your full money back for the game and instantly just play the game directly off your hard drive. This allows it to tell if your game's been deactivated by the retailer or if it's been activated by a friend or anything. So deactivate off your console so that it won't do it. And of course it will only do it, it will only be able to tell if that's happened every 24 hours via the check-in. And for the reason of the 1 hour check-in, which I'll go over at a friend's house, is because you're streaming it from the cloud. Basically, every hour it'll take a part of the game and stream it to the Xbox, basically. And it makes it how you can continue playing the game directly from the cloud. And that's why it has such a shorter check-in. Now, let's start. Oh, and PS4, of course, won't require the check-in online. That basically means you're, no matter what, gonna have to keep the discs in your PS4. There is no playing it directly off your hard drive. So, but there is more to it still. Let's listen to this next video by the president and CEO, Jack Tretton at Sony.
Let's talk a bit, though, about that situation, because I think, there are still some publishers that feel that, GameStop's capturing a lot of value there, that publishers are not benefiting from EA implemented online passes. We've seen that in this generation. For PS4, I mean, you guys have said, obviously, we're going to allow people to trade games and whatnot. If a publisher comes to you and says, hey, we actually want to, we want to restrict our game, or we want to do something around that, what will Sony's response be to that?
Well, I mean, we create the platform. We've certainly stated with our first-party games we're not going to be doing that, but we welcome publishers and their business models to our platform. There's going to be free-to-play. There's going to be every potential business model on there, and again, that's up to their relationship with the consumer and what they think is going to put them in the best stead. So we're not going to dictate that. We're going to give them a platform to publish on.
Right. But the Sony platform will not allow for DRM for third-party games?
The DRM decision is going to have to be in the hands of the third parties. Yeah, that's not something that we're going to dictate or control or mandate or implement.
You heard from the man himself that third parties are still able to either put DRM or restrict used games. But all first-party Sony games will not be restricted whatsoever by DRM or fees. Which brings us to the next subject. Used games. Right here, it basically says on the Xbox part that trade-in and resell of your disc-based games is supported. You can lend, trade, resell all your disc-based games with no problem. Also, you can also lend them to your friends, no problem. On here it also says PS4 supports used games. So right there, it is telling you that they both allow you resell, trade in, completely support them. But people are still skeptical, oh, used game fees and blah blah. Let's go on to this then. Access your entire library from any Xbox, no discs required. Okay. The used game fees all were basically rumored because of this. It download it to your hard drive. To do used games, you have to activate it to continue playing it directly off your hard drive, and so on and so on. But right here from Microsoft, it states in their role as a game publisher, Microsoft Studio will enable you to give your games to friends or trade in your Xbox One games at participating retailers, as in like GameStop. Third-party publishers may opt in or out of supporting game resale and may set up business terms or transfer fees with retailers. Microsoft does not receive any compensation as part of this. In addition, third-party publishers can enable you to give games to friends. Loaning or renting games won't be available at launch, but we are exploring the possibilities with our partners. Yes, so that basically is saying the exact same thing Sony is. Microsoft will not have no fees, will allow you to give your games to friends or trade in, except third parties will have the choice to be able to go and put fees or restrict them with fees and use games. But also on Microsoft, which it's highly unlikely that the DRM will ever change, but the used game policies could change. And the next paragraph, it says, while they're moving into the new generation of games and entertainment, from time to time, Microsoft may change its policies, terms, products, and services to reflect modifications and improvements to our services. So that basically means they could definitely change used game policy to make sure third parties can't do it. But for now, both companies are allowing third parties to be able to use DRM more than what the Xbox One is, or not use it and only use the Xbox One's DRM, or none on the PS4. Or they even on both consoles they can go and put used game fees on both consoles, and they can disable you from lending it to your friends in some way, sort or form, and so on. Well, that's pretty much all we have to talk about the used game and DRM. Give your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching.